New messages. All message playback.
Hey Marty, this is Ray. I wanted to see what you're doing and we're going to hang out today. If we do, I want to shoot some Call Me Crazy because I have a lot of shit to talk about. Bye. Now give me a ring, dude. Bye.
Monday, 2:23 p.m.
And that was a little piece of Call Me Crazy behind the scenes. And now, the Call Me Crazy Show.
What's up, Tucson, Arizona? This is the Call Me Crazy Show, episode 171. Very happy to be here. And you know, I say that every time. I'm very happy to be here. But guess what, guys? I am happy to be here. This is episode 171. I'm in an undisclosed location. Today is July 9th, 2007. And I'm telling you folks, it is fucking hot out there. The other day I read or heard that was 113, felt like 120. But you know what, I kind of like the hot weather. I'd rather be in hot weather than cold, because here in town winter ain't that bad. Okay, for the cause, certain things happened for the past 2 weeks that have been pissing me off very bad. I'm going to make this long story short, because if I make it out to be the long story, it'll take forever. But we all know who Scooter Libby is. He's one of the administration's officials in Dick Cheney's circles of friends, if you will. Darth Palpatine. No, what am I saying? Darth Cheney. That's what it is. Darth Cheney. But anyway, Scooter Libby, what happened a couple years ago, he leaked out to the press the name of a top secret CIA agent, and that woman's name was Judy Plain. And anyways, she tried to sue Dick Cheney and the rest of his thugs because she got mad that she was outed out by Dick Cheney and his cohorts. Jump 4 years now to 2007, and Scooter Libby was found guilty of obstructing justice and lying under oath. And Libby was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Guess what, folks? George W. Bush gave him commuted his sentence, meaning that he don't have to serve 2.5 years of prison, meaning that he got off scot-free, folks. So this goes to show that George W. Bush takes care of his own and only his own. You know, when Bill Clinton and George W.H. Bush were president, they did presidential pardons also, but they did it in the final hours of the administration. George W. Bush did this pardoning already, not even a year and a half left to go for him to get out of the office. So that means he thinks that he's above the law. And you know what? He is above the law. Look what he did. He's, you know, basically any American can get sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. And if you're friends with George Bush, you don't have to serve the 2.5 years. So I guess if you're a pedophile and you don't want to go away from prison for child molestation, just become best friends with George W. Bush, because he'll let you off free. And that, my friend, is what pisses me off the most, is that there's people dying in Iraq, there's homelessness here in the country, there's poverty, Hurricane Katrina still not fixed up, New Orleans still not fixed up. You know, there's no universal health care system for everybody here in the U.S., and what's George W. Bush doing? He's commuting another criminal record from prison, saying he doesn't have to go to prison. And that's not presidential, folks. A real president doesn't do that. A real president doesn't say, you know what, my friend just got busted, and the court of law, he was found guilty and he was sentenced to 2.5 years. You know, if God forbid, if I got sentenced for 2.5 years in prison for doing something really fucked up, which I hope I never do, but you know, I would want somebody to commute my sentence. That would be kind of nice. So it just goes to show there's a bunch of crooked politicians up in the White House. Their soul, George W. Bush's soul and the soul of Dick Cheney is so black, it's blacker than midnight, and it's colder than a witch's tit. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the soldiers dying in Afghanistan and Iraq. They don't care about if we go hungry here in the U.S. They don't care if there's water in your living room and it's 5 feet of water in your living room and your TV floating, going by, and then there's a cow, bloated cow carcass floating by in your living room because of a flood. They don't care if you suffered through all that. New Orleans happened, Hurricane Katrina happened, and what happened? Took almost a week for any of those people to get help. Why was that? Because George W. Bush was an officer. He don't care, but if, God forbid, Washington, D.C., a Hurricane Katrina type hurricane hit Washington, D.C., and it made a disaster zone, that shit would be cleaned up within a day. It would look like they never got hit. That's how they must take care of it for themselves. It gets pissing me off. It gets very bad. It's been the last 7 years with George W. Bush in office, been horrendous, horrible. He got into the biggest mess I ever seen, and I'm 98 years old. I've seen 10 presidents go by, but he's the worst president by far. Worst president, my God. It's a shame that someone that stupid can be running the country. And you know what, folks? He thinks he's all high and mighty. What people out there don't realize that in the 80s, when George W. Bush was, this is before his governing days. This is when he was in college fooling around, and then fooling around with his dad's administration. They said that George W. Bush used to do cocaine at Camp David. And that's a presidential retreat up in the East Coast where the president goes to hang out and relax from all the hard work and stress from being president. And when George W. H. Bush was president, George W. Bush used to do lines at Camp David on federal government property. What did he care? I'm my dad's president. I can do fucking coke all I want. And you know what? One day I'm going to be president. And guess what happened, folks? He's president. And the past 7 years, the U.S. has been in so much trouble with our allies. Everyone hates us. Everyone hates us. The whole world hates us, but yet they want to wear Levi jeans and have iPods. I'm not saying Iranian, Iran, the federal government of Iran, they don't want no Western culture going into the country, so they're hardliner. But there's still people over there that have iPods. They wear Levi jeans. They watch basketball and NASCAR. That's hypocritical. The whole world will be so fucked up without the U.S. here. That we're the best country in the world, and you know that, and I know that. Where else would we do drugs, rock and roll, and have sex, right? Right. But I just like to say George W. Bush is not my president. I hope he's not yours either. A lot of people say, well, you gotta back him up. I don't back him up. He don't back me up. Why am I going to back someone up if they don't back me up? Because he's the president of the United States, I got to back him up? Hell no. Fuck that shit. We don't need that. I don't need that shit in my life. Nothing all I have to say about that. All the criminals up there in Washington are running the country. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Okay, enough of that. We're gonna go on a lighter note. No, screw that lighter note. Let's just go for dark, hatred-filled, encrusted with bad memories of chaos reality check. Okay, here goes the reality check. A couple days ago, a 10-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl kidnapped a baby, and they requested a ransom of $100,000. You know the world's fucked up when a 10-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl, they kidnap a baby for money. How can you be that young and not really think about, yeah, let's do this kidnapping ransom plot. And you know where they get it from? From people like me, I guess. People like on television. They get it from the internet. They get all these ideas from the movie. And, you know, can you be mad at those two little girls for kidnapping the baby? Because they're just kids. They don't know any from right or wrong. But man, that's pretty drastic. So that's a reality check. Another reality check, and this is all concerning kids, folks. I love kids. I have nieces and nephews and godchildren. I love them. But this next story concerns, I think, a 9 or 10-year-old girl. She was driving 100 miles per hour on a highway, leading police on a high-speed chase, and she was drunk. A 10-year-old girl behind the wheel going 100 miles per hour on the highway, and she's drunk. And the only way she was able to stop driving at that speed because she flipped over. You know, what's the first thought that goes through your head if you're the cop who arrives on scene? It's like, oh my God, it's a 9-year-old girl driving that Lincoln Continental. So that just goes to show also that kids are absorbing a lot of the negativity in the world, even though there's a lot of positive. And another thing I want to talk about, Amy Winehouse. I saw her play at Coachella in California a couple months ago, and right now she's my #1 group for '07. I can absolutely love her and her music. I read her Rolling Stone interview, and she has some serious issues, and that's why I think I like her all the more, because she has some self-cutting issues, a lot of cocaine issues, a lot of drinking issues, and to me that makes the music a lot better. I'm just kidding, folks. I'm sober. Nah. But Amy Winehouse, that's what I want to talk about. Okay, now I'm going to end this episode 171. Hopefully it's been long enough that I'm trying to fulfill a 30-minute mark. And if I don't hit that 30-minute mark, forgive me. But here goes. I have a buddy of mine who's a published author and poet. He released a book earlier this month. The name of the book is called A Giraffe Fight, and it's by a very talented guy I know. His name is J. Marshall Hunt. You can acquire this book at Bookman's East, if I'm correct, Bookman's East. The name of the book is a book of poems called Giraffe Fight by J. Marshall Hart. I read this book several weeks ago, fell in love with it, and I decided that I'm going to recite 3 of my favorite poems that he has in here. So the first poem I'm going to recite from Giraffe Fight by J. Marshall Hart is called Theme for Hospital. Like I said, you can get this book, you can buy this book at Bookman's East, J. Marshall Hart. Alrighty, so the first poem I'm going to read is called Theme from Hospital. And here we go. And this is my first time reading this out loud, so bear with me. I haven't been able to enunciate it the way I would like to enunciate it, but bear with me. Theme for Hospital by J. Marshall Hart. Obvious as a thumb or the ability to use tools, I wore a circulatory system on my sleeve. We go for the trains that punch holes in night fog and roar past us like we are. Photographs of bad men with small features of bright boys with sad eyes. I feel like a dream of settled sidewalk, bike jumps. I feel like legroom. I want to open my mouth and let light fall out. And that poem was called Theme for Hospital. Very cool, one of my favorite ones in the whole book. The next one is called, the next poem is called, let's see, I'm friends with the father of our country. I think it's my favorite poem in the whole book. Okay, here we go. It's a very long poem. No, it's not the Iliad, but almost could be. I am friends with the father of our country. 1. I was freezing, standing outside Red Lobster. But there was no way I was going to bring it up. Not with George Washington standing next to me smoking a cigarette. He had really acquired a taste for menthols. The cold was taking my breath, and I was dying to go sit inside at the bar to wait for our table. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't even act cold. The slightest inclination that the temperature was making me uncomfortable, and George will launch into that tedious Valley Forge story again. What do you call this part at the end again? He asked. I inhaled. The mucus in my nose froze and crystallized, and then sighed. The filter. 2. George Washington called earlier and asked if I wanted to get in a pickup game after work tomorrow. Normally, I like playing with those guys. It makes me feel good about my skills. They're all about set shots and bounce passes, and it's easy to take Franklin in the hole. But he said Jefferson was going to play. I hate playing basketball with Thomas Jefferson. He wants everybody to call him T-Jeff. 3. George Washington stopped by last night, late. He was drunk and going on about Martha not loving him and this cherry tree and how it was all bullshit. That never happened. Erin was pissed. She gave me that, he's your friend, you deal with it look. I told him he could sleep it off on our futon. After a couple of minutes of silence, he blurted out, I threw a goddamn coin across the Potomac. I can satisfy a woman. Then he fell asleep. I removed his wig and his big buckled shoes and watched him sleep for a moment. That's the father of our country, I thought, drunk on my futon. Very cool, huh? Very cool. I like that poem. Sorry about some of the mix-ups. Okay, the third and last poem I'm reading by J. Marshall Hart in his book of poems called Giraffe Fight. It is called Summertime. Summertime. 16 birds came and unbuttoned my shirt. Most of their names were Sparrow, but one of their names was Raven. My head rested on a gnarled, exposed root. My heart rested on a gnarled spine. The raven stuck around and told me a story about why the tree loses leaves. Thank you, J. Marshall Hart, Giraffe Fight. I hope you pick it up. You can pick this book up at Bookman's East. Very good price. It doesn't cost a fortune. Thank you, J. Marshall Hart, courtesy of J. Marshall Hart, permission. Thank you. Alright, so that's Call Me Crazy, episode 171. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to do a quick recap. George W. Bush is non-vice president. If you think you have problems, you don't. And if you do have problems, you do. And if I have problems, I don't. Does that make any sense? I'm out of here, folks. Call me crazy. I'm going digital. I forgot to say that. I'm going digital. You can catch Call Me Crazy repeats on digital cable. Who knew almost after 9 years of Call Me Crazy on public access, I'd be coming to you digital. And also, and the television doesn't mind, and the television now going to be Saturday at 8. Saturdays at 8, no more Friday night and the television. It could have been worse because we originally thought it was going to be Saturday at 6 in the afternoon. Oh, the thought of me at TCCC in the daytime is not cool. Oh, I love TCCC, but I can't be there in the daytime. That's for the downtown folks. We're the nighttime folks. And you know what they say, the freaks only come out at night. 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 The freaks only come out